We're talking uniforms and football. What better to do on a Friday? Plus, Cory Provus on the Twins and Stone Cold picks with my dad. Hot Mike starts now.
Hot Mike with Dom Izzo.
Really? Really, Dom?
No. I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. It was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot Mike.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something.
Coach Dom Izzo, WDAY in Fargo, North Dakota.
Can you give me a layup or something?
Hot Mike. Presented by Northwestern Mutual.
That program is second to none.
On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo.
Good Friday morning. Welcome to the I'm Not Working at Target edition of Hot Mike on WDAY Extra. KSFL TV. Good morning, everybody in Sioux Falls. KNBN in Rapid City. And Inforum.com. Happy Football Friday, everybody. It is September the 12th, 2025. Final day of the week. Ready for the weekend. I say not working at Target edition. For those that are going to listen on the podcast later, I have a red shirt, and it is Friday. It's Mustard Pants Friday for everybody on television. So my wife joked with me this morning that apparently I have the evening shift at Target later today, which is hilarious. So just jealous of the mustard pants. I get it. Welcome to our show, everybody, on a Friday. First, we have to do a wellness check on our guy, Eric, who mysteriously was off yesterday. And then sources indicated that the Packers played last night, and apparently they won. Did you tip any cars over in Horace last night at 2-0?
No, it was expected. They should have. They ran through Washington like they need to do, and they still haven't allowed a touchdown outside of the fourth quarter.
That's not bad. That's all right.
That's pretty good.
You can thank Jerry Jones for that. Holy cow. Yes, we'll get to that in just a second.
Oh, they were chanting, thank you, Jerry,
I saw
the Prime broadcast. So,
the Amazon deal last night. You know the cool thing about, and I tweeted this last night because I missed the first half. Jack, Matt, and I were having some fun. The rapid recap function on the Amazon Prime is really cool because they chop up the game to like 9 or 10 big, depending on when you come in. And I came in the second half. So you got to see like the 9 biggest plays that happened prior to that, which was really cool. If every broadcast could actually do that, like if you're streaming it on YouTube or whatever, if you're watching the ticket, right? That would be fantastic. Okay, I missed this and I can go bam. And it took like 2 minutes and then it took me right to the live game. That's sweet. That's really neat.
I think there's a lot more. Like if you have the YouTube TV function for the NFL games, you can do that through like all the games.
See, that's cool. That's really neat.
Chop up. I haven't used it yet because I haven't needed to because I've been watching all the games. But yeah, even like a NASCAR race, they'll chop up highlights of it.
I saw that too.
And get it to you.
So I imagine now with the NBA beginning next month that you're going to be able to do that, which that be for basketball, for people that don't want to watch the fourth quarter, that could be dynamite. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. We are packed today. We got a ton of stuff going on. I mentioned this is the ultimate story I've been waiting to do, and we're going to have it on the show today. The Bison obviously play tomorrow, home opener. How about that? We're pretty pumped. We're not traveling this weekend. Just excited. We don't have to go anywhere today. I'm excited about that. Yeah, exactly. And we've got the home opener tomorrow. Excited about our broadcast. And the Bison are wearing new uniforms tomorrow. They're wearing white uniforms tomorrow. And the guys that designed it are on the show. This is like the nexus of the universe for me. Guys from Under Armour are going to be on the show today to tell us on how this all came about, the design of it, and all of that. So if I can feel people's eyes rolling to the back of their heads already, but that's what we got coming up later on in the show this morning. We're also going to talk plenty of football. We got Cory Provus on the Twins, and of course we got some picks with my dad coming up later on. But let's begin with the game from last night as week 2 of the NFL schedule got going with a dynamite game. NFL giving Amazon this one to start for its, I believe, 4th year of its Thursday night package with Washington and Green Bay last night. Commanders, of course, made it to the NFC Championship. They opened with a big win over the Giants. The Packers demolished Detroit in game 1. And I will just say this in our uniform conversation. Just imagine what Green Bay wore last night is what NDSU can do if they decide to go with the full white helmet, because this was pretty sweet. Pretty sweet is how Green Bay has played in its first 2 games. For Bison fans, they've seen enough of this guy. Tucker Kraft, wide open. Evidently couldn't pick up number 85. South Dakota State fans loving every part of that. Sets up later. Jordan Love to Romeo Dobbs. Easy slant. 7-0 Green Bay. Packer offense humming here. I mean, they could do anything they wanted. This deep ball, that's a fabulous over-the-shoulder catch there. And to stay in bounds. And remember, they're doing this without Christian Watson, who's not back yet from his torn ACL. Not sure when he'll be back. Another one, Kraft just throwing guys off of him. Gets down inside the 5-yard line. That'll set up Josh Jacobs, who's, I believe, scored 10 consecutive games prior to last night. Now make it 11 for the touchdown. 14-0 Green Bay. We pick it up now. It's 17-3 Packers in the fourth. Jaden Daniels finally hits Terry McLaurin with a reception there to keep them on the field. It's hard. To see Washington held in check. That tells you how good Green Bay is defensively. They finally got this one to Zach Ertz for a 20-yard touchdown. Yeah, Zach Ertz is still playing. He's in at 17-10. Now we pick it up. Same score later in the fourth. Love doing everything here to evade pressure and then hit Kraft. Penalty on the play. Keeps the drive going. And you had to figure they were going to reward him for the monster night. Kraft scores. Lambeau leap coming for the big jackrabbit. 24-10 Green Bay at that point. Yeah, there's plenty of flexing going on. Packers roll. Washington got a late touchdown from Deebo Samuel. 27-18 the final score. After a dominant win against the Lions, they do it again. As Eric mentioned, they've only allowed touchdowns in the fourth quarter this year. They did to the Lions, and they allowed 2 scores to Washington last night. Look at the night for Jordan Love. 19 of 31, 292, and 2 scores. Kraft, a career night, 6 receptions, 124 yards and a touchdown for the Timberlake, South Dakota kid who the Packers drafted a few years ago. And after, I don't know if battling injury is the right way to describe it. Eric probably knows more than I do on that. Boy, he stepped up in a big, big-time way. And you've got the other weapons that Green Bay has. You throw that guy under the mix. Holy cow. Now, not everything was great news last night. You guys got somebody hurt, correct? Isn't Reed
we
out?
lost Jaden Reed.
Jaden Reed's done
for probably 6 to 8 weeks for
collarbone
a collarbone injury. So, I mean, Rodgers came back from this, I want to say 2018, I think. And they just missed out on the playoffs. But, yeah, he's done for a little bit. But we got so many weapons standing there that is it really going to matter? I mean, Golden finally had a breakout game. He should have had his first career touchdown if Love throws it to the corner and not to the over the middle. But, I mean, they're loaded.
Yeah, it's right now it's unfair of how for defense to try and stop what Green Bay's got going. So I can spike it all weekend long for Packer fans here in the upper Midwest until the Vikes play on Sunday night with Atlanta. Chicago and Detroit also play this weekend. We'll get our picks in on that coming up later on in the show. We also have our Eliminator picks coming up, too, today.
One more thing on the game. Tucker Kraft was outgaining the Commanders by himself late in the fourth quarter. He had like 108 yards, and they had 101.
He's wide open on some. I'm not sure what they're doing. There was nobody in the area on some of them. So.
And Christian Watson, I don't know if people have missed it, signed a contract extension for next year.
Nope.
So he's going to be back, and that offense is going to be loaded.
Yikes. Pretty good start so far through what we've seen from Green Bay. Now you got 10 days off before they have to play again for their next time out. Yeah, exactly. That's what we could have seen. They're going to wear the Harvest helmets tomorrow. We'll get to that here in just a few minutes with our guy from Under Armour. All right, real quick before we set up the show. Last night, final night of the WNBA regular season, the Minnesota Lynx were in position. If they won against Golden State, the new expansion team, they would play Golden State in the first round of the playoffs, and they had dominated Golden State. If they lost, they would play Seattle, and the Storm actually beat the Lynx 2 out of the 4 times this season. So, and it's best of 3 in the opening round, and they changed it, which we'll get to in a second, in the format. So that was what's at stake last night. On top of that, if the Lynx won, they would tie the Aces record for most wins in the regular season that Las Vegas set 2 years ago when they won the WNBA championship. So it wasn't just a throwaway game at Target Center last night. And after they lost earlier in the week, Napheesa Collier's back. That's all you need to know. And if she wanted to make a final statement on A'ja Wilson that she's the MVP of the league, she did it. Drops that one. That three-pointer boosted her to 40% from 3 on the year. She's the second WNBA player with a 50-40-90 season. 50% from the field, 40% from 3, 90% from the line. Only Elena Deladon did that. She's been sensational this year. Hits this corner 3. Lynx were up by 8. Then Natisha Heidemann got going. Between her, you have Dejanay Carrington, you've got Courtney Williams. This is a tough basketball team to try and beat. They're up 8. Later, Heidemann knocks down this 3. She had 21. Lynx go on. They win it 72-53, the final. They finish with 34 wins in 44 games. Last time I checked, that's pretty good. Heidemann goes for 21. Collier, 19 points to close out the regular season. So, the bracket is now set for the WNBA playoffs. It's 1 versus 8, 2 versus 7, 3, 6, 4, 5. The Lynx will open up on Sunday at noon against Golden State. And it's best of 3. So, this reminder, it's 1-1-1. It used to be you had all the games, the first 2 games at home, and then you would play the game 3 on the road. It's not that case. So, game 1 at Target Center, Sunday at noon. I'm not a huge fan of the scheduling on this, going right up against football. You've got Phoenix playing New York. That'll be at 4 o'clock Sunday on ESPN. We've got a game on Sunday on WDAY, Atlanta and Indiana facing each other. And then Las Vegas and Seattle is the other matchup. Right now, odds are it's going to be Vegas and the Lynx. Vegas has just been on a tear. They won again last night. So they finished the regular season, Vegas did, with 16 wins in a row. That's pretty good. So it all begins Sunday, best of 3 for the opening matchup going on at Target Center. What are you going to be doing Sunday? I mean, the Twins play at 1. Not sure anybody's going to be there. We'll talk more about that with Cory Provus coming up. But you've got Lynx at noon at Target Center, the Twins at 1, and then the Vikes at 7:30 on Sunday night. It's a pretty good sports day for Minnesota sports fans. As is today, for those of you that watch our program, we got a packed guest lineup, which is brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. Just a few minutes, you'll meet Todd Locklear from Under Armour. He is the director of the Collegiate division for what they do for uniforms. He'll give us the lowdown on how the Bison Under Armour partnership came about and the design of the white uniforms, the gold standard uniforms they're called. That's coming up in just a few minutes. Our guy Cory Provus back with us, hopefully feeling better. No, he wasn't in the booth for the finale with the Angels on Wednesday. Twins to host the Diamondbacks this weekend. Some interesting comments coming out of Joe Ryan as well. We'll talk to Cory about that coming up later on in the show. At 10 o'clock, our friend Jay Elsen will join us from MidCo Sports. Busy man this weekend. South Dakota at home. South Dakota State at home. Some big news out of Coyote country. Charles Pierre Jr., their outstanding running back, done for the year. Already been a tough year for USD. Now they got to deal with that. We'll talk with Jay about that at 10 o'clock. And it's Friday. We wrap the week in style with my dad to deliver some stone-cold winners. Eric, do we know how he did? You have his picks from last... I didn't do the title. Give us, when you can, how did Dad do last week in week 1 to start the year?
Going straight up, he went 11-5.
Ooh, okay.
Which isn't bad.
All right.
But not to humble brag, I did beat him. I went 14. I went 14-2 in picking the game straight up.
Well, there you go. So, and your pick is still alive in the Eliminator. You're still with us. Correct?
It is, and we will find out who everybody took.
We'll do the Eliminator picks
at about 10:50?
10:50 before we wrap up the show this morning. So that's what we got going. A little bit of things happening on a busy Friday. We're glad you're joining us. We'll take our first break. We come back. The man behind making the gold standard uniforms happen, Todd Locklear from Under Armour, will join us on the other side of the break. Hot Mic off and rolling on a Friday. Back after this on WDAY Extra, KSFL, KMBN, and Inforum.com. Don't forget, we're back with you for Bison Game Day live at the Dome, 10 a.m. tomorrow morning on WDAY, leading you into the game with Southeast Missouri State. Kickoff show hits at 2:20. You'll see the banner raising right when we come on the air. The football game just after 2:30. Southeast Missouri State, North Dakota State for the Bison home opener. And tomorrow, as we have mentioned since we first got word that something was coming, tomorrow North Dakota State will debut its brand new gold standard jerseys designed by Under Armour. An all-white look for the first time, at least for our records, can indicate about 60 years, maybe beyond that. That the Bison will be decked out in all white. Our next guest was the man who has designed them. Todd Locklear joins us from Under Armour as the director of the Collegiate Division to make this happen. Todd, thanks so much for doing this. As a Jersey nerd, this is a dream interview. Tell me about this concept. I know the partnership began with NDSU in July. Was the talks about this started then or long before that?
Yeah, so obviously, thank you guys for having us here today. But real quick correction. So I didn't design them. I'm just the one that presented them. So we have a great design team back in Baltimore that I want to make sure gets credit for that. But yeah, I would say like as soon as the clock struck 000 in Frisco, we started thinking about a way that we were going to do something special for the Bison. Number one, to kick off our relationship, and number two, to kind of celebrate, winning a national championship. At Under Armour, we see ourselves as a podium brand, and those guys being on the podium last year, we wanted to come out and raise that banner to something cool. And I think it was when they opened up the football office, they had a press conference, and there was some chatter, around, hey, you guys going to bring back the white uniforms, and that really got everybody back in Baltimore, kind of thinking, what can we do? And pretty much ever since then, we've been full steam ahead, and I couldn't be more happy with the results of everything. And I think Coach, the team, Matt and Todd in the administration, I think everybody's excited about it. So,
Todd, so the process starts like that. So then, when the designers go to work on this, how much sharing is it done? Like, did they design it and then send it to the school, or give us the backstory on how that works?
Yeah, our designers in Baltimore are unique, and they obsess over this kind of thing. They're fantastic storytellers, right? So everything is for a reason, and it really starts with a vision. They'll put it down on paper. We'll share some mocks back and forth. I think there were very few tweaks. I mean, I've been doing this a long time, and usually it takes back and forth. But I think we got really close from jump. And, just the result was fantastic, and I think everybody's pleased.
All right, so we're going to show them now. When you got to see it for the first time, what was your reaction when you saw this?
So funny story is, I'm always on those guys. It's like, when am I going to see this? When am I going to see it? I need to see it before the team. And they had, I guess I was traveling. I travel a lot. And I guess they put the uniform on my desk. And when I got back to Baltimore and I walked in one morning, that uniform was there. And I was taken back a little bit. We've only done these particular numbers for a handful of teams. I actually think North Dakota State's probably going to be the fourth or fifth team, and it's the first FCS program that we've ever done this for. Wow. So, when I saw them, it was just, you're used to seeing the stuff for Notre Dame and Maryland and everything like that, and they get their roses and they're great partners. But seeing it in, for a team, for an FCS program, first year with Under Armour, it was just really impressive, and I was so proud of what the team put together.
Do you know the other teams off the top of your list that had to have those numbers like that?
So we did it with Maryland. We've done it with Notre Dame.
Okay.
I believe Northwestern is going to take a swing at it this year, and then the Bison.
Wow, that's pretty darn cool. All right, so it's done. Then you got to send it out to Fargo. Is it waiting on bated breath? Like, okay, here we go. What's the reaction going to be?
Yeah, I mean, you always kind of, once you see the finished product and, it has to ship, right? They've got to take it out of the box and, you hope the kids like it. Like that's first and foremost, like you want to see the wow factor. So yeah, it's a little bit of waiting with bated breath and, the way they chose to roll it out to the kids and their reaction, like that's what we want, like. And a guy like me, I just turned 50 and we're not building these uniforms for me anymore. We're building them for the kids. And the reaction that the kids had when they first saw, those gold uniforms was special, and that's what you hope for. And, being able to get to work in sports for a living is a privilege, and being able to be this close to, what these teams are going to wear on the field is great. And at the end of the day, this is, and I'm going to be a little biased here, but this is the best jersey in the market. There's some things about the jersey you probably don't know, but it's virtually ungrabbable. When you're in the trenches with the linemen and things like that. So it doesn't just look cool. It's very functional, and we like to think it's given the Bison an advantage.
Well, that may not be great news for Southeast Missouri State tomorrow when they find out they can't grab onto it. So you get the manufacturing of this. How early on does that have to happen for them to be ready to wear for a game for tomorrow?
Yeah, so something like that, when we're doing a cut and sew uniform like that, I mean, it's about a 12 to 16 week process once we push go. So you've got to be in front of it. You don't usually like to run a hurry up offense around something like that, so there are times where we can spin a uniform and it's really just more of a basic type uniform. But those TPU numbers, that was another element, just to the construction of the uniforms. We wanted to make sure we had plenty of time to do that. And timing worked out great. We got them there early enough. They were able to debut them. Also helped that they weren't going to wear them till the third game of the year. So that gave us a little bit more time. So it is a process, and it does take a while. Now,
tomorrow, are you going to find a computer to stream to watch the game to see how they look tomorrow?
Oh, we'll definitely be watching it. I unfortunately can't make this trip. One of my teammates, Dan Lawler, is going to be there. He's going to be on the sidelines, with these guys, and hopefully send a lot of really cool pictures back to the mothership here in Baltimore, and we can all rejoice in it.
How many, off the top of your head, maybe you know this, how many teams do you currently design for, have uniforms for in college football?
So we've got we have a stable of about 90 Division I programs. We have another 300 small colleges that we work with. We're doing designing for a small number of those, but we have input in all of them. And we enjoy that white glove service and the fact that, these schools, feel connected to the brand, and, we help through design elements whenever we've been asked to.
When NDSU has kind of come on the market, can you describe that of say, we want to be in partnership with North Dakota State and vice versa. NDSU wants to be in partners with Under Armour.
Yeah. So I've been with the brand 23 years. I moved over to the collegiate side in 2015, and I had a board, back then in our old office that looked like a war room, and I had magnets on it. And North Dakota State has been on that board since 2015 for me.
Wow.
So when they came up, they were working with a consultant, and we were contacted, and I hopped on a plane and I went to Fargo. Never been there before in my life. The guys were great up there. We brought them to Baltimore, bought them a crab cake, took them to an Oriole game, and I could tell that like there was going to be some synergy here. Our brand, we're only 30 years removed from our owner selling stuff out of the back of his Explorer in his grandmother's basement, right? So, we've got that lunch pail, blue collar mentality, and I kind of felt that cut through when I first met the group there. And, spending time in a town like Fargo, which, is that lunch pail, blue collar kind of mentality town. And I just knew there were going to be a lot of parallels that we could draw, and it was going to be a really good partnership.
Todd, a couple more minutes left. I really appreciate you doing this. Was there any pushback on the white uniforms? Did you hear that at all? Because there's a lot of pride in the green and the gold, and this is a definite stray from that.
I'm going to say no. It was an idea, like I mentioned, that kind of came out of that press conference, and it was could you guys do this? We know we're late in the game because we had ordered all the other uniforms at that point.
Yep.
And, it became a passion project for everybody in Baltimore, to get that done. It was really important for us to start the partnership and have that football team run out of the tunnel in something that was a gold standard when they dropped that jersey. So we made it happen.
I keep getting people, after seeing the design, wondering, what about a white helmet? Now, I know Under Armour doesn't make helmets, but can you twist some arms? Can we make the white helmet possible?
Now, I'm going to tell you, and I don't know if the boys are going to get mad at me, but I thought they were going to wear a white helmet, when we got this thing going. So when it came out and they wore green helmets, it looks fantastic. So we're happy about it, but maybe you guys can lean on them a little bit and see if we can go all white look here moving forward. But the green helmet they chose, it sets off the uniform perfectly. And they're going to be a well-dressed team. Now they are playing another Under Armour team tomorrow, though. So there'll be two well-dressed teams on the field.
Is there more coming? Can you hint? Do you have anything down the pipe that you can tease us with?
Now, I can't tell you all my secrets here, but I think so. I mean, I think Kevin always talks about that Under Armour's never made its defining product, or we still haven't made our defining product. So. The Bison still haven't seen the best of what we've got to show them. So I think over the course of this partnership, there's going to be some really cool things that come out of Baltimore for the green and gold.
This was great, but thanks so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. Be well, and hopefully we can chat down the road. Okay?
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Go Bison.
Todd Locklear joining us, Under Armour director of the Collegiate Division, the man unveiling the gold standard uniforms that you'll see. And this is part of, obviously, in the football office when we were up there in April when the Under Armour partnership was officially announced up in the football offices. And those are what the standard uniforms are. And I believe what I was chatting with Polisic about this yesterday. Now with this uniform in, I think they have, it's not Oregon levels of combination. I think he said 16 different combos that they could rock, which I'm sure for the old timers, they're probably just shaking their heads and throwing things at the television. But that's what the kids like these days. I say kids because I'm old now too, but that's what they like to see. And frankly, for me, this is a dream. Everybody else has had uniform stuff we've talked about. Now NDSU gets to dabble in it. The Jackrabbits are doing it this weekend. The Jacks are debuting an all-new black combo with a new black helmet, I believe, as well. So it's coming. I'm looking forward to see how it looks on the field tomorrow. My biggest deal is calling the game. Can I see the numbers okay? That's all I'm worried about when 2:35 hits tomorrow. All right, we'll break. We come back. We'll shift gears, talk some Twins. Our guy Cory Provus on the other side of the break. Twins back home tonight. Open a weekend series with the Diamondbacks. That's coming up when we come back.
Deep to left center field. Back it goes and gone. The 0-2 pitch. Hey, struck him out swinging at 101. Swinging a drive. Left field and deep. Back it goes and gone. And the Twins walk it off again.
All right, it's Friday at 9:35, which means we visit with the voice of the Minnesota Twins on television, Cory Provus. Twins are back home tonight as they take on the Diamondbacks. His appearances each and every Friday are brought to us by Welton's Tire Service out of Lisbon. Everybody wants to know first how you're feeling, man, that you weren't in the booth on Wednesday. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing better. Thanks for asking, and I appreciate the kind words. I'm doing better. I'm going to work tonight, but I started getting sick in Kansas City on Sunday, and then I was in bad shape Tuesday. Doing the game Tuesday night, I was not feeling great, and then I got back to the hotel, and I knew within like an hour that I was not going to work Wednesday. So I was in pretty rough shape. Tuesday night was a bad night. Wednesday wasn't great. So I flew home separately. I didn't fly with the team. I flew home yesterday, and I'm doing better. Right. Just got some fatigue. I took a couple of COVID tests just to see, and negative for COVID. So I might have had the flu, but I'm certainly doing better. But I'm just trying to get my strength back.
Well, good to hear that you're doing better, and good to have you back in the booth tonight for series with the Diamondbacks that opens up We were chatting last week, at the Viking game being on Monday night, and the Twins were playing late with the Angels. You feel like you had an open mic on Monday night? You could say pretty much whatever you wanted.
So I was having a little fun. So I don't do much on Twitter anymore, but I thought, let's have a little fun. So I was doing kind of like random play-by-play updates. We go to commercial, I'll be like, hey, Royce homered. We have a 5-3 lead. Tune in. Just to see what the reaction was going to be.
Yeah.
And I had fun with it on Monday night. Then I heard that random stat. It was like the first time in like 40 years that the Twins and the Vikings both won on the same day on the road. It was just some rando stat that you wouldn't think too much about, but I thought that was interesting. But I had fun with it on Monday night, well aware of what our ratings were and well aware of what the interest was locally, but still I wanted to have some fun with it.
Well, I appreciate it because I saw you doing it. Like, that's fantastic. That's a way to get people to tune in. That was dynamite. Let's chat some stuff on the field. Byron Buxton, couple of big home runs. Obviously now second Twin to go 30-20, first since Kirby Puckett did it. The thing we've always talked about Buxton is when he's healthy, producing, the Twins will win. And that's the ironic part, I think, Cory, of this year. He's been dynamite, and the team is struggling as much as they are.
Yeah, you know what? But I think, Dom, when we visit, early next season, I think what we have seen this year is that, at least for the time being, let's put if he's healthy kind of in the past. Okay? Because Byron, he got a concussion. Okay? We can't do anything about that. He had the rib cage issue, fine. Trying to make a catch in right center, fine. But he's been generally healthy this season. And the issues that he's had in the past, not at all the issues that popped up for him this year. So I think what I hope with Byron is when we get to him next year is going to be like, hey, if this, if that, can he stay healthy? Well, he was healthy, and he has put together an outstanding season. I mean, he's pushing on a 5 Fangraphs WAR season, which is stellar. I mean, MVPs are going to be around 7s and 8s. I mean, that's where Raleigh and Judge are, and those are the MVPs. But still, if you're a 5 or better, that's an elite season. And so for Buxton, I just think for the time being, and at least heading into the offseason, into 2026, if he's healthy, how does he fare?
Yeah.
What's up with the knee? Well, all that now is in the past because he posted this year.
He's been dynamite, and it's been fun to watch, really, over the highlight over the last month and a half since things have gone and developed as they have. Royce Lewis had a big night back home on Monday, had a couple home runs. I think we may have talked about this last week or the week before, so I apologize on the repeat question on that. But is there anything he's done fundamentally different that you've seen at the plate over the last little bit?
Audra talked to him in Southern California and tried to get to the bottom of that. He's tweaked his swing here a little bit. And what I've heard from him is what I've heard from Austin Martin, what I've heard from a lot of guys is they keep going back to, I'm just trying to be more of an athlete. And I'm just trying to be more athletic and maybe looking less into, well, a year ago I was doing this with my hands and my toe tap or my leg kick and my base was here and my feet were here. What is going to make you more of an athlete? And I think that's what these are things that the guys have leaned on a little bit more. And I'm sure there is something fundamentally different. And I'm sure when Justin is back in the booth here starting tonight, and I'm sure he'll be able to pick that out in a second. I can't tell you where his hands are, where his feet are, what's different about his swing. But what Royce told Audra is that he's trying to be more athletic. And with whatever he's doing to make that happen, it's working because he's had a good second half.
How much a good September can you take that to next year, Cory? Does it not translate in your history of covering baseball?
I think so because the struggles last year in September, and let me be honest, I'll be perfectly clear. It wasn't just on these guys, but Royce had a quiet finish.
Yep.
Brooks Lee had a quiet finish. The young guys that were playing more baseball than they ever had before didn't finish strong. And Max Kepler was in that same boat for a long time. Max Kepler's worst month over his career was always September. And then as time went on, it got a little bit better. I believe now it's changed a little bit because in the minor leagues, these guys are playing more. But only not too long ago, the minor league season ended, barring playoffs, Labor Day. Now they go into mid to late September, and that's going to help these guys, get going for that last month in the big leagues. But I think absolutely for Royce Lewis, who struggled last year, to be able to say, hey, I had a better September this year, that's a big deal. Brooks Lee right now, pretty quiet. I think just 2 extra base hits his last 19 games. So he's in that same little rut that he was in last year. But for Royce, I think this is very encouraging.
Got to ask on the other side, found out David Festa got shut down a while ago, getting a second opinion. It doesn't, when I hear thoracic outlet syndrome, that's normally a year, right? I mean, that's the worst news you can hear.
It's a year, and I've yet to encounter an example of somebody who's come back from that.
Oof.
I don't know of pitchers that, I'm not saying the career ends the next day, but can they find what they once were? Phil Hughes is an example in Twins history. Steven Strasburg, even Marcus Stroman was. I mean, there's just these guys. It's not an uncommon procedure, but to me, it's not great because coming back from that, if there are examples, and maybe there are, Dom, that I can't think of top of my head, few and far between, because the bulk of the guys that have this thoracic outlet syndrome procedure where they shave part of your rib bone down, that's, you come back okay, and then they say normally it's year 2 when you find it again, but then okay, I've heard that, but then year 2 doesn't go as well, and then what? So to me, that's not a great diagnosis for a guy like David Festa, especially where he's at in his career. Other guys, I mean, Phil Hughes made a lot of money. Strasburg made a lot of money. For a younger guy like David Festa to encounter this at this point is very concerning.
Especially considering, the Twins, I think, had some hopes for him, right? That's going into 26, that he might be part of the solution for next season.
I think, and Glenn Perkins said this on the air, that he thought maybe Festa was going to thrive as a bullpen piece.
Okay. Yeah.
And I could see where he's coming from, because Festa has swing and miss stuff. Did he have a third pitch? I don't know if he really had a third pitch. His fastball slider, that's a good combo there, good velocity. And then if you take him out of the starting role to the bullpen, does 94, 95 as a starter become 97, 98 as a bullpen piece. So I think he was a guy that, sure, the Twins were not going to rule out as a starter, but maybe was going to be in that group with this new look of the team and moving some former starters into this bullpen role like they did with Trevor May and Tyler Duffy, and then we know the latest group, that maybe Festa was going to slide into that column, into that category. So I think long-term, I think he was a part of this team, no doubt about that. In what role? I was starting to lean more as a possible bullpen piece down the road.
Email to ask you, and I was going to bring this up, so I'll do it here, to ask Cory about Joe Ryan's comments he made that upset that the Twins didn't re-sign Sonny Gray a couple years ago. I was stunned that he said it out loud. That's something maybe you say off the record, but the fact he went on the record with it, I was taken aback. What did you make of the comments he made?
I mean, I think that Joe Ryan is going to speak his mind.
Yep.
And that's what I love about the guy. I like that he has no filter. To me, that's all part of the experience, and he's an emotional guy, and I have no problem with that. What I will say is that I don't think the Twins had a chance to sign Sonny Gray. I think it's of my belief that the Cardinals had their sights set on him, number one. That if the Twins offered him $75 million, the Cardinals were going to go for $90. That he was their number one target. And he signed, I think, early November?
Early.
He was very quick to sign.
Yep.
I also think he wanted to, and I'm not saying Joe's wrong about him wanting to come back here. I don't know that. I think he wanted to be closer to home. He lives in Tennessee. I think if it wasn't going to be St. Louis, not saying Atlanta's farther, but I remember Sonny's last year when the Twins were playing in Atlanta, and Sonny's got a great family, great kids, and they were wearing all these Acuna chains, and I think the Braves were also going to be in play. I just think there were other teams that were interested in Sonny and were going to exceed what the Twins were going to offer. Now, I think what's fair to argue is, okay, Sonny, they didn't re-sign Sonny, went on. But could that money have been used elsewhere? Could that money have been used to sign a guy like Reese Hoskins to play first base?
Right.
Could they have used that money to sign Harrison Bader instead of Manuel Margot, instead of that trade for 2024? I think that's fair to bring up and fair to debate. But the Sonny piece of it, I never assumed he was. I always assumed he was leaving. I just felt like he was going to. Whether he and Rocco ever got fully aligned after what happened, that dugout scene, but that was what, 2022.
Wasn't great. Yep.
I don't know. I can't speak to that, but I do know that I just have the feeling that the Cardinals were not going to be outspent. After what they went through the year before, they wanted to go get a number one, and they were spending their money on Sonny Gray, and that's where it ended up.
Let's break. We come back. We'll chat with Cory about the weekend with the Diamondbacks, and then the Yankees are coming to town early next week. We'll do that. Other side of the break, we wrap up hour one of Hot Mic after this. All right, wrapping up our first hour back with Cory Provus. Twins and the Diamondbacks tonight. I had to double check here on the schedule because this is the final homestand of the year. The Diamondbacks here, then the Yankees, and then the Guardians, and that'll do it for games at Target Field in 2025.
Yep, 3-team homestand to wrap up the home portion. Then we finish in Texas and Philly. So yeah, it goes fast. It really does. And Arizona this weekend, and thanks to your Mets, are very much in the thick of the wild card race. Only 3 back right now. So the Twins have games left with contending teams. I mean, it's not like the Twins are not playing, uninteresting baseball here. They're playing some compelling baseball because of the teams they're playing. The Yankees, they're a playoff team right now. The Diamondbacks trying to hang in there. The Guardians just won 3 out of 4 against Kansas City. Yep. And remember, that's a 4-gamer next weekend, a doubleheader a week from tomorrow. So, yeah, and then Texas in the thick of things in the American League West, wild card and the division, and then Philly will have it wrapped up by then. I think it's more about seeding out of the one of the two, but Milwaukee pretty much has a good lead for that number 1 spot right now. But yeah, there's still some good, compelling baseball left for the Twins on the schedule.
I was all set to write the Diamondbacks off, and you're right. The Mets have been sucky, so it put Arizona back into it. But Arizona's completely underachieved. They sold at the deadline, like they got rid of their best guys.
Yet here they are.
Yeah, I know.
Since the trade deadline, they're 21-16.
Yeah.
I mean, or since the second half of the season, they're playing great. So, yeah, they have found their stride here a little bit. And they're doing this without some key guys, some key losses. Ketel Marte, I think he's going to be okay. He left the game the other day against the Giants with a bad foot. But it's a good team. It's a good team. Brandon Pfaadt's going tonight. He's got, 12, 13 wins. His ERA is over 5, though. But still, it's a team that has a lot to play for right now. And then you put your season numbers, all that's in the past. Right now, it's almost like, okay, there's blood in the water.
Yeah.
If you're a contending team right now, the Twins have not played well, and since the All-Star break, have the worst record of any team in baseball. This is the time you have to eat. So they're going to get the opposing team's best shot every day, the rest of the way. So it's up to the Twins to answer and see what they can do to bounce back.
I'm interested in your thoughts on this because I know how baseball develops bullpens now. In your mind, is it a clean slate in 2026 that the Twins relievers now likely aren't with the team next year?
I think there's a few guys that are of interest. Like I think they didn't put Travis Adams in the bullpen just to fill a spot. I think they want to see what he can do in shorter bursts.
Okay.
I think Cody Funderburg has had some really encouraging signs here in the second half to be a pretty reliable lefty. He's got to lower that walk rate, especially to lefties. But I think Funderburg, I think Adams, and Cole Sands has had a really good second half. I know he took the loss the other day, but still his velocity's up. So I think there are some guys that figure to be important pieces, but yeah, I think that's where they go. I think in terms of free agency trades, they're going to have to take a look at the bullpen. I mean, they're going to absolutely have to take a look at the bullpen because it's not. I think they know it. I think they understood when they traded their top 5 guys, it was going to be pretty nasty, and it has been.
I want to save this probably for your last appearance in a couple weeks, but if you were to guess the Twins 2026 outfield, How would that look to you?
Oof. I think Buxton's in center. I think Austin Martin is in left.
Okay.
And the Walker Jenkins service time, that's gonna be a big topic in spring training, especially if he's healthy and he
he's
hits
good. Yeah.
And he rakes. It's gonna come up. I mean, it's gonna come up. I would be somewhat surprised if both Matt Wallner and Trevor Larnach are on this roster together. It's clear what the style of play the Twins are trying to go with right now. I think that's the same style they're going to want to bring back, and that's going to be running. And I think a big mistake that the entire staff will own is that they should have done this sooner.
Yeah, I know. You mentioned that on the air. I heard you say that. Like, why the wait? Why did they wait so long before they started doing this?
They didn't believe it, and they trusted. Nope, we're slow. We're sprint speed. We're slow. Well, look around the game.
Yep.
Juan Soto's got 31 stolen bases. Josh Naylor's got 25. You don't have to be the fastest guy in the world to steal bases now. You just don't. With the limit of pickoff plays, the bases are bigger. There's just better ways to watch and study and find these little ticks that these guys have and these little moments that these guys have you can take advantage of. And I think they were a little late to the game on that. And I think so they're going to want to play that style. Wallner and Larnach, they're not the fastest guys. I just think they're going to want to be more athletic and probably not rely on much of the slug as they planned on being. And I think that's kind of where I sit right now. I just, unless one of them learns first base, which maybe happens. Right. And if one of them goes to Camp Morneau this winter and moves out to the West Metro and says, "Hey, Justin, teach me first base," so be it. And that'd be great, because I think there's a spot there to be had. It's going to be about the conversation, the want to. Are you open-minded? Other than that, I don't know. But right field to me is murky. But I like what I've seen from Austin Martin. I really have. I like that he's getting playing time. I think he's at his best in left field. I like his at-bats. His base running needs work. We all know that, but he's fast. So I think that's kind of where I sit right now. Alan Rodin's going to be in the mix. James Allman's going to be in the mix. But you have so many left-handed hitting outfielders. Yep. That's why I feel good about Austin Martin's chances of being, on the team and perhaps in left field to start opening day.
Great to see you, bud. Hope you're feeling better. Have a great call tonight, and we'll do this again next week, okay?
Thanks, Tom.
There he goes, Cory Provus, voice of the Minnesota Twins on Twins TV. Tonight with the Diamondbacks at 7 o'clock at Target Field. His appearances are brought to us each and every Friday by Welton's Tire Service. We appreciate their sponsorship of his appearances on our show. We'll break. We come back. Big second hour coming up. We got picks with my dad, and we'll check in South Dakota. Two teams going maybe opposite directions with USD and South Dakota State. Jay Elsen on that. We come back.
This is Hot Mike.
Hot Mike.
On the networks of WDAY. Here's Dom Izzo.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Football Friday rolls on. Big second hour. Don't forget, about a half hour from now, we'll do some picks with my dad to wrap up the week, as we do it each and every Friday throughout the football season. Looking forward to that. We're on top of what's a great weekend of games. Bison have their home opener. Jackrabbits are at home tomorrow night for Drake. UND's got a biggie tomorrow afternoon in Missoula. South Dakota has its home opener with Northern Colorado. No better to give us the update on what's going on with South Dakota football. Our guy Jay Elsen from MidCo Sports joins us. I was joking with Jay off air that he's had a little bit going on this week, especially with USD. And the news yesterday, you reported just sucky on Charles Pierre Jr., the All-American running back, is done for the year. Do we know when this happened?
He was injured during the first half against Lamar. And I think initially it wasn't feared to be a big deal. And then as they got into the week, I think they learned a little bit more about just how severe it was. My understanding is that this particular injury is not one that always requires surgery. And so unfortunately he fell into the vast minority in terms of the percentages of that. So it's horrible luck. He went out of the game in the first half. They worked on it a little bit. They got him back out there, and then he got out there for like a play or two, and that's when he fumbled at the 1. And that was it was on that play. And so he never came back. Talking to Travis Johansson early in the week and just asking him like what the status was. I think there was still a lot of optimism there. I don't think Travis thought we were going to be talking about this kind of thing at this point. And then as the week went on, I think things became a little bit more clear that it was a little more serious than they thought. And he was going to have to be on the shelf, which obviously is horrible news. I mean, he's one of, if not the best running backs in all of FCS football. Just 1,800 career yards, had a tremendous year last year. Was going to get his chance finally to be the bell cow guy. After, playing alongside Travis Tice for such a long time. Charles is a great kid too. And you just feel terrible for any athlete that has to go through something like this, but especially when it affects the team in the degree that this injury affects South Dakota specifically. So, next man up, though, right? I mean, that's what they always say. L.J. Phillips is going to get his chance now. Reed Watkins, the transfer from Texas that was a redshirt with the Longhorns last year, looked really, really good in fall camp. He's going to get the number 2 duties, and then they've got a walk-on freshman, Carson Fletcher, just kind of blew him away with what he was able to do when he came in. So they still feel really good about the 3 running backs that they're going to be leaning on from this point forward. What they don't have is the home run hitter that Charles Pierre Jr. was. And that's just something he was going to be tough to replace no matter what, but especially in that particular area, you just can't rip the lid off like you could with him.
Well, we're watching some of his highlights from last year, Jay, and that's exactly how I would describe him as well, just home run hitter. He got the ball, and he was normally going to go for an explosive play, and you can't replicate that no matter what you have there. That's the difficult piece for a guy like, I just think of Bauman, who when he signed up to come back in, right before Christmas time, he was going to have his 3 All-American offensive linemen. He was going to have this guy back, and he's got none of them now.
Yeah, it's tough. And I sat down with Aiden this summer, asked him that. Obviously, we didn't know about Charles yet then, but about Joe Cotton and Bryce Henderson defecting after he had made the decision to come back. And I said, I mean, if you had known that was going to happen, then would you have made that decision? He said, I wouldn't have even thought twice about it. Yeah, this is where I want to be. I feel like we've got unfinished business. And so, I mean, it's got to feel like it's piling up on him like it is with the team, certainly. But Aiden is, one of his best and most redeeming qualities is just his value as a leader to that team. And if anybody can pull them out of the doldrums here of what they're experiencing, they've got a couple other injuries. Keandre Jones-Logan was injured in spring ball as well, Dom. So that's another one that just a significant piece of this offense is just not available. They are very hopeful that Keandre can get back by the end of the season and maybe get in enough games to still qualify for a red shirt, whether it's medical or not. And so they think they'll have something from him down the road. But for a Lions part of this season, it's going to be those 3 guys we talked about.
Jay, I'm interested. The loss at Iowa State, Iowa State's good. I still was surprised with the score, but then last week you can't lose at Lamar. Just the vibe around this team right now. And then have this in the home opener. This is a lot of negative around a football team right now.
It really is. And I mean, that's when I sat down with Travis yesterday just to talk about our pre-broadcast kind of stuff and have a conversation. That was the first question I asked, like, how are the guys doing right now? I mean, it's got to be tough. You can see the fans, how it's affecting them. But if you're in the locker room, you have to imagine that it's exponentially higher, right? Because you just have so much of more direct attachment to these guys and all the work that has been put in to have this championship caliber team and season and all that. And he said, you know what, Jay? He's like, I'm not surprised, but I am surprised at how well our guys are holding up from a mental standpoint. He's like, practices have been fantastic. We're locked in. Nobody's getting down or feeling like sorry for themselves or sorry for the team. It's just like, hey, we got to figure it out. And so you're right. I mean, nobody thought they were going to go to Lamar and lose. And when you play a football game where you allow 65 yards passing, you allow 3 yards per rush, 204 total yards. Right. You turn the ball over 3 times, and you still only lose by 7, but you lose the game. Like it's just like one of those what ifs. Every team has what ifs during a season, but that's certainly a massive one. And down the road, if they get things turned around, it's the type of game that could keep them from a more favorable seed, certainly. now certainly they're going to hope that Lamar runs off the
Yeah,
bunch of
right.
wins, right? Maybe
Exactly.
it doesn't look so bad, but because that was a team that was getting better last year, but they were still picked fourth in the Southland this year, and so it's not, a Valley powerhouse team like South Dakota or a South Dakota State or a North Dakota State. Those are the games they go on the road, and they don't just win them; they win them convincingly, and it just didn't happen this time. And circumstantially, there were a lot of things at play. Certainly, not having Charles the entire second half of that game didn't help. But it was the mental errors and those things that they couldn't ultimately overcome. And so now you're in a situation where you come home, you get Northern Colorado, you get Drake. Chance to get right before you get into the Valley at least. But then, of course, your Valley opener is in Fargo. Yeah. Not ideal. So you definitely want to be playing some high-quality football by the time you make that trip north.
And I know I talked with Johansson about this at the Missouri Valley Media Day, that they have the schedule where they play every week. Their bye is at the end of the season, so there's no time even to regroup before come to Fargo or even after last week's game, because it's 12 straight here.
Yeah. It's you're already beat up.
Yes.
So you can imagine once you get into the meat grinder that is the Valley, how much more beat up you're going to be. So he made the comment to me, and I did think, thinking back on it after he made it to me yesterday, he's like, Jay, it feels like, this team is kind of early version of 2023. They went to Missouri. They were making some weird decisions in a game that they felt like they should have been even more competitive in than they ultimately were. And so he's just like a lot of new guys. They have 40 new players, 20 some transfers, whatever it is. A lot of guys that they were mostly backups on that team that did what it did a year ago. And so he's like, guys figuring out their roles, and for the first time in the college level, they're the guy at their spot and they're trying to figure it out. So he remains very, very confident in his group, the talent level that they've accumulated there. But you've got to go out and figure it out and get the results. I can tell you this: he doesn't care if they win by 1 or 50 tomorrow. It's just got to happen. They've got to be in the W column after tomorrow.
And on top of that, we have Jersey Gate as well, as you were reporting that give me the back. USD wanted to do it whiteout. They wanted to wear its white jerseys, and Northern Colorado said no.
Yeah, they said no, and which is their right.
Yeah,
let's be honest. I mean, when you're the visiting team, that is your right. We're not talking about a Northwestern Tulane situation where Tulane had a very specific reason that they wanted to wear white that was much more sentimental than a whiteout.
Yep.
But yes, normally if the home team says, hey, we'd love to wear white, we're doing this promotional thing, most teams are going to say yes. I don't know Northern Colorado's perspective on this, so maybe they have a very valid reason, but ultimately it just adds a little extra layer to tomorrow, and fired some people up on the Twitter machine or the X machine this week. So that was fun. Yeah, we threw that out there, and lots of comments about red seats and white shirts and red jerseys and all that. So, everybody was having fun. We're in full swing in the trash talk realm already in the college football ranks.
September 12th, we're in midseason form for everybody on that. There's no doubt. I want to get your thoughts on what you saw from the Jackrabbits so far through 2 games. I think there was a section of fans, especially in Fargo, that thought, well, the amount of guys SDSU lost, they're not going to be as good. I was not in that camp. I thought they're going to be just fine. Now, did I have them winning in Bozeman? No. I'm not surprised they did. Where do you stand on where the Jacks are through the first 2 games?
Well, Matt Zimmer wrote about this week. He said, with the schedule that they had, they easily could have been 0-2, 1-1. Instead, they're 2-0, right? And they're coming home with Drake and then Mercyhurst the next 2 games.
Correct.
So Dan Jackson's done a great job. That was a tough spot, right? I mean, you lose your entire coaching staff. So you hire Dan. He's got to hire an entire new coaching staff and get everybody on the same page, not to mention find a whole bunch of players to replace and guys that are capable of performing at the level that you want. And I will say this, the guys that stuck it out, guys like Chase Mason, Quentin Christensen, this is well documented. I mean, their leadership through that was tremendous. And they had buy-in from the guys that they convinced to stay with them. Before any of them ever stepped on a field together with Dan Jackson leading the practice in the spring and whenever else. So I think that was a huge piece of it. I think, Dan has continuously said this group is so close. And I do think with the results that they've been able to get in the first couple of weeks, that has shown. I don't think Sacramento State is very good.
No. Nope.
And that's a game that definitely felt like they left some things out there that they should have won much more convincingly than they did on the scoreboard. Now, statistically, it was very convincing, and so I think that they just left some points in the field. Last week at Bozeman, going to Bozeman and winning, there's you cannot take anything away from them in that. That is a tough thing to do, especially in the last 10 years or however many years. But we're also learning a lot about Montana State. Like, they have a lot of pieces to replace. And so I think this is kind of more true of a lot of FCS right now, Dom, is that they were so pillaged in the portal this last year that while teams, they have this number next to them, and I don't know if it means as much as it may have in the past because there's just so much more unknown than there's been. And so Montana State's going to be a good football team. There's no question. I just don't know how good they are right now. And I don't know how good South Dakota State is right now. I know that they've got a tremendous win last week and that they started this season 2-0, and that I have very little doubt that they will be a massive factor in things down the stretch with the way that they played and with the way that defense has come together. In particular, Chase Mason has handled every challenge that's been put in front of him to this point tremendously well, going to Bozeman, as a first-time starting quarterback and figuring that out, getting it done in overtime. I mean, that's a huge feather in his cap as the new leader of this offense. But, a lot remains to be seen. But, yes, the early returns are super positive for them. There's no question.
Before I let you go, my producer Eric Bonnell is a fellow Wisconsinite like yourself. Are you more super high on the Brewers or the Packers right now?
I love that I have to consider that. That's first and foremost. I mean, we can't all be Mets fans.
Yes.
So,
well, yeah, there's that.
Yeah. No, I mean, for me, it's like, I'll ride or die with the Brewers forever. And as soon as we get into the playoff, I'm not paying much attention as much as I was leading up to the start of the regular season in football. Once the Packers get started, it's hard for me to focus on anything else. Packers and Badgers both. Although I'm just hoping they get out of Tuscaloosa without losing by 60 this week. So yeah, no, I would say equally excited, but just seeing what has been put on tape the first couple of weeks at Lambeau Field. Yeah. No, I mean, I'm more excited about that defense than I think I've ever been. I'll say that. And they weren't always terrible on defense, but I haven't felt this way since the Reggie White era. I'll tell you that much for sure. They look really awesome. And the disruption that Micah Parsons has caused the first 2 weeks, people are like, oh, his numbers, he's not worth 47. I don't know if you watch what I'm watching.
Yeah, right.
But they're accounting for him on every single play, double teams. He's still putting pressure on the quarterback, still causing turnovers even indirectly by the pressure that he's putting on the quarterback. And he's got a sack and a half in 2 games that were 4 days apart. So on a back that was supposedly not great. So I think, there's lots of reasons to be very excited about what's happening in Green Bay right now. There's no question.
Great to see you, bud. Have a great call tomorrow, and we'll talk soon, okay? I'll probably see you in Sioux Falls before I know it. So, all right.
Sounds good. Look forward to it. I'll see you in Fargo in a couple of weeks.
Right.
I'll be up there, too.
Sounds good, bud. Thanks for doing this, bud. Thanks again for the time. There he goes, Jay Elsen joining us from MidCo Sports. He'll be on the call tomorrow for South Dakota and Northern Colorado. Is this like the greatest thing ever for you? The Brewers can't lose. Packers are apparently unbeatable. Like, you're just on top of the world here, right?
Well, I don't want to say the Brewers can't lose because we just got swept by the Rangers, but
yeah, that's right. You got swept by the Texas Rangers,
they're pretty good.
We're playing the Mets this weekend, so I need the
now I need the Rangers to keep their hot streak going. Like, I don't want to see the Mets in the playoffs after last year. You guys ended Bob Uecker's career. I'm done with you. Get out of here.
The Mets have to make the playoffs first. That's a whole other.
Hey, who's winning the Mets-Yankee record? I didn't look.
Oh, the Yankees are right now. There's no doubt on that, considering Mets just got swept by 4 in a row in Philadelphia, which is, I got to hear about that from my buddies back home, too. So
I do want to complain about the MLB scheduling of yesterday being 9/11. Why weren't the Yankees and Mets playing each other?
Or one of them playing, and the Yankees played at home.
Both played at home, I think.
No, the Mets were in Philly yesterday. So
okay. But they need to figure that out. Like, they should play it because that would be perfect for their firefighter and police thing that they do every year.
Cool. Yeah, they haven't done that. They don't do, well, especially now that you can play interleague games whenever. I guess you could do that. That's not a bad, I like that idea. That's not bad. All right, let's break. We come back, and a bunch of emails to get to wrap up the week. And don't forget, about 15 minutes away, we're doing picks with my pops. Back on Hot Mic here on a Friday morning after this. Welcome back, everybody. Friday morning show, final 35 minutes or so before we get out of here for the weekend. Of course, our work is just getting started. Let's see. I got a bunch of emails to get to. I've saved a few up here. I do also want to highlight a few of the high school games. We have 2 games on tonight on Extra and WDAY2. We'll feature that coming up later. South and North playing tonight. They didn't play last year, which again, I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole, even though I could, on how messed up we are in North Dakota big school football. But South and North, they have to play every year. Have to, and they didn't last year because South is a 2A school and North moved to 3A. And North played 3A schools. And South should be a 3A school, but that's neither here nor there. They're playing tonight, so excited for that. Biggie out west, Davies and Legacy. I believe that's 1 and 2 in the big school division playing tonight, so I'll be interested to see that. Each of those teams are 2-0 on the season. Shanley is going to Bismarck tonight. Old friends matching up there with Givey and Troy Mattern. That'll be fun. Interested to see who comes out there. West Fargo's going out west, take on Minot. So a bunch of our in-city teams are out west. Century and Cheyenne are playing tonight. We'll have those, man. You talk about history of those schools. And I called, I think 4 years in a row they played in the playoffs. I called all those games. They played 2 years in a row in the Dakota Bowl, and Century won them both. And the year prior, they played in the semis, and Century got them. They came out east and beat Cheyenne to go to the Dakota Bowl. They've had a great little run, so that'll be fun tonight. We're having that game on TV. Dickinson's playing Central tonight. Wapaton's going to Devil's Lake. Red River at Minot North. Keep your eye on that one tonight. Minot North is just out there. They're 2-0, doing what I expected them to do in that division. Kindred goes west to St. Mary's after their big win over Horace. Central Cass plays Jamestown as well. So that's just some of the games we got coming up over tonight. Moorhead is at Minnetonka tonight. Keep an eye on that one because star quarterback Jet Feeney's status up in the air. He did not play the second half of the game last week when the Spuds won at Woodbury. And I've been told it's a shoulder injury. So his status up in the air going forward for tonight. And that's huge. Obviously, Moorhead has high goals, and their quarterback is a huge part of that. And if he can't play, that's going to be a big deal. Minnetonka is nothing to mess with. Here are the next 3 they have. Minnetonka on the road. Next week, it's Wayzata, game that we're televising. And then the defending state champs in Maple Grove come to Moorhead. That's a heck of a murderer's row, the next 3 games that they have on tap. I wanted to read this email real quick before we go to break. Dom, first of all, if I'm from Bismarck, Mandan area, try to listen to your show at least 3 days a week. Great job. Keep it up. Would love to see more guests from the West, but I get it. Also, your game broadcasts are great, and the broadcasting team is fantastic. Kyle and you in particular are fantastic. I was out of state for the Citadel game and had to watch their broadcast, and that really proved how good you guys are. I'm not reading it because of that, but I really appreciate the kind words. In regards to the whiteout at the Bison game Saturday, I wanted to inform the media why many will not be wearing white so the media doesn't complain. Many people who won't be wearing white at the Bison game Saturday are probably from out of Fargo and probably western North Dakota. The Bismarck Shields has limited Bison clothing and basically one white shirt option, which is a polo. They also have a $120 jersey or some expensive price. That Shields does not carry a nice variety of Bison clothing to begin with, much less participate in these promos. I and several others I know from around here are coming in Saturday morning for the game and tried to find a white shirt. Nothing. What are the options? I'm not stopping at the Shields in Fargo in the morning due to time and not wanting to change clothes in the parking lot. Guests could buy in the tailgate lot or in the dome, but again, where do we change and what do we do with the clothes we are wearing? Just wanted the media to be aware that many have tried to participate in the whiteout but have no options. That's interesting. I did not know that. I know whether it's the bookstore has plenty, and they've advertised that on social media. And obviously the Shields here in town. I can't speak to the one in Bismarck. I'll trust the emailer that has sent this, that they are maybe short on supplies on that. But that's something you got to have full buy-in to make it look good. And frankly, I don't know how packed it's going to be tomorrow. That's something I'm working on here for after the show to see what the ticket allotment is or how it's going for sales on that. I know they've stacked the Fargo Shields with it. I haven't been down in a little bit since they actually announced the white jersey deal on sales. What do you got?
Couldn't they, just another option for our viewers out west, just buy a plain white T-shirt? That's
Could, I
an
guess,
option.
yeah.
It's cheaper than the Bison stuff. I understand you want all the logos and all this stuff on it.
Yeah.
But just go buy a white T-shirt and it's the same thing.
I guess that's one way to get around it.
If you don't have white, it's not going to be a big deal. Just watching the Packer game last night, they did all white.
Yep.
People were in the stands wearing green. Just wear whatever you got.
That's true.
The support means more to the student athletes than fans can even imagine.
They want it to look cool, and I'm sure it will. Some of these promotions have not worked out great in the past. I'll just say it. Some just either didn't get the message or didn't know. I don't think that's the case here. I think that the messaging's been out since they announced that this was coming. But still, you want to have the demand is there. You want to make sure the supply, I guess, is there. If I remember my Eco 101 that I was taught way back when. All right, we'll break. Thanks for the emails on that. When we come back, best part of the week, we do some picks with my pops. Sure, he's going to spike the football. The Steelers beat the Jets last week. Hot Mike returns right after this.
That was me and you. If you'd have went with a Boston, you'd have been living in the garage. I had a Yankee hat on, of course, which I usually almost always do. But she says to me, if I were you, I'd take that hat off. And I looked at what look at it to begin with. I ain't taking my hat off. I know where I am. Yeah, right.
You believe anything that guy says? Because I don't.
He said he was going to marry J-Lo, too, remember? I finally told your mom. I said, there's no sense. Let's just put TVs in the room because I'm only going to wake them up anyway. So
that's how I got a television? All right, it's that time. Friday morning, we bring in we got to get a cool nickname for the top better that we know in Central New York. My pops joins us here. All right, I got a way back story. September 12th is a big day for me. So you know why September 12th is a big day?
That when you got there?
September 12th, 2006 was my first day at WDAY. So now we've never done this story. Do you want to tell the story on air of coming to Fargo from New York?
I don't think we got enough time, do we? It was a wild, wild ride, for sure.
So he's going to accuse me that I stuck him driving through both Chicago rush hour and Minneapolis rush hour, but we were trading off.
I'm gonna accuse you. Isn't that exactly what happened?
No, we're trading off. That's exactly what happened.
And I got stuck going through both cities. You knew what you were doing. You knew exactly
No,
where you
I
were
did
going.
not. And if I knew what I was doing, we took the long way. We went north out of Chicago to Milwaukee. We could have cut across Wisconsin and saved, a couple hours.
You just wanted to do that, so we went by all the ballparks.
We did go all the way because we went by Cleveland. We went by Chicago. We went by Milwaukee. We definitely went by Minnesota. So we had 4 of them. We didn't stop at any of them. We didn't have time, but pretty sure.
Well, you wouldn't. I'm lucky you let me stop to go pee. You didn't want to stop for nothing.
Had to get there. That's why the end of our intro, when Dad's talking about wearing a Yankee hat, that was the first night in town that you got harassed about wearing a Yankee hat here. And so there's the backstory on that. So
after 24 hours in the car with you, I didn't need that at all. I was ready for
You were ready for anything. That's right. Oh, man.
That was something I'll never forget.
Yeah, that was
awesome.
And the other part of this, on a somber note, I was telling the story of 9/11 yesterday when I pulled into the driveway. You were there. Tell everybody you remember of that day.
Well, I was at work to begin with, and that's when I walked in the lunchroom. They showed the towers smoke, and I said, "Ain't no way that's an accident. No way." I mean, how do you miss that big tower?
You don't.
You know.
Nope.
But it was. I mean, it was just unbelievable.
And then the F-15s flying over the house was the surreal part of the day.
Heading for the nuke plant.
Yeah.
That's, you know, they were just like they were flying around the nuke plant just to make sure everything was, it was scary.
The fact the fact that was going on made it surreal, scary.
We didn't know what was going on for sure, so.
Nope.
But, you know, hey, that's history, man.
It is now. Nope. No doubt about it. All right. So before we do some picks here, you want to, put your official stamp on it. The Yanks are going to have more wins than the Mets this year. Looks like it's going to happen.
That's an every year thing.
It's not an every year thing, first off.
Yeah, it is. Go look it up, and then next time you tell me how many years they beat the Yanks.
I'm sure Eric will. I'm sure he'll go and do that now. So
it ain't many. So
mid-80s,
and we're playing terrible.
Yeah, you guys aren't very good either.
Yeah, we're playing terrible. We can't get a string to go and get off.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, right now would be you guys would host Boston in the wild card round. That would be interesting.
Yeah, but we should have been in first after the last 3 games, but we blew it, man.
Toronto's got your number too, though. So Toronto's pretty good.
So we can't beat Detroit.
Can't beat the Tigers either. Detroit's pretty good.
Geez.
So, all right. Before we go, our picks here tomorrow. The Bison have covered in both games. Tomorrow, they're 33-point favorite tomorrow with Southeast Missouri State. You want to try? You want to take some action here or what?
When do they actually start playing a team? I mean,
probably a couple weeks from now, I think. I thought South Dakota's going to be pretty good, and now they're 0-2, and they got their best player just got hurt. So I don't know whether they're going to be.
Yeah, I see that. That's not good.
No.
I have to take them. How do you not take them?
Under-over is 54.
Well, that I might shy back a little bit.
Yeah, I might hit the under on that tomorrow.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I put
Depends if the other team scores, you'll make it.
Yeah.
But if not, I doubt it. 12-3 last week, by the way.
So Eric said, what did you say? 11 and what? I think Eric said 11. Eric said 11 and 5, but that was straight up. That wasn't with the points. That was straight up. You went 11 and 5. So
where do you figure I had 5 losers? I didn't get 5 losers.
We'll debate that later. He says 12 and 3, 11 and whatever. All right. Before we do the picks here, you have the full runway to go ahead and gush on your guy, Aaron Rodgers, for beating the Jets, which everybody saw coming. Yeah. He was going to play well against New York. We could predict that.
That one, I'm neutral on that one because
neutral.
How can you brag about beating the Jets? Come on, you can't brag about beating the Jets. He did have one of his best games.
He was pretty good. I'll say this. Yeah. Watching the game Sunday, he looked A-okay to me.
Maybe the Jets gave up on him too soon.
Oh, don't even get me started. We're not going there. No.
I can't even imagine sitting here rooting for this guy, but I have to. You know what I mean?
All right. We ready to rock and roll? Did you win some money last night, by the way?
I won a couple bucks. I had Green Bay and over, but I dropped the total to 40.
Oh, well, there you go.
Because it was 48. But I dropped it.
Okay. Well, they hit 45 last night, so there you go.
Yeah.
All right. Now official is 12 and 4 we got from Eric. So there you go. 12 and 4. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
He forgot the week before he picked the Eagles Cowboys game.
You picked Dallas and Philly the week prior. So that's we counted that one too.
Oh,
so,
yeah,
yes.
okay. Yep.
All righty. Let's rock and roll with my beloved New York Football Jets hosting Buffalo on Sunday. The Bills, I don't know how they won on Sunday night against Baltimore. That was an unbelievable game. I don't even know why we're playing the rest of the year. Those are the two best teams.
Yeah, it was, even Minnesota game was awesome, too.
Viking game was pretty good.
Give me the Bills.
The Jets are getting 6.5. What are you talking about?
Yeah, they're going to need at least 10, but give me the Bills.
Buffalo there. Jacksonville looked pretty good in its opener. They play Cincinnati, who finally won an opener. The Bengals are a 3.5-point favorite at home.
And Cincinnati just barely won.
Cincy did against Cleveland, yes.
I'll take Cincy.
Got Cincinnati minus 3.5 there. The New York Football Giants stunk it up. Russell Wilson's still playing for some reason against Dallas. Dallas is a 5.5-point favorite at home.
The poor Giants, they just can't.
Giants are bad.
Yeah, give me the boys.
Got Dallas minus 5. Dallas actually looked pretty good against Philly. I'll say that. I thought they were pretty good there.
Yeah, once they got their best player out, they did really good.
Chicago at Detroit. Both teams looked bad last week. Lions are 6.5-point favorite at home.
Give me Detroit. They'll bounce back.
All right, let's hope so, because Detroit looked lost last week with their
Yeah,
offensive
that
coordinator
looked like
now.
a totally
head coach of the
different
Bears.
team.
Yeah,
man.
yep.
Totally different team.
I'm telling you right now, nobody's talking about them, but they better. The Rams are just hanging her out there, and the Rams, I think, are pretty good. They're at the Titans on Sunday afternoon. Now, here you go. You got a West Coast team playing on the East Coast at noon. 5.5-point favorite of the Rams.
Yeah, but if they weren't playing the Titans, I'd go against them. But give me the Rams.
Because the Titans are bad. He's taking Rams minus 5.5 there.
They don't like that 1 o'clock game.
I know.
Rams don't.
Yeah,
They don't
they
at all.
have struggled with
Seems
that.
like they lose it all the time.
Patriots, Dolphins, in the Somebody's Got to Win Bowl. Miami, a 1.5 favorite against New England.
Give me New England.
Okay, Patriots getting points. One first underdog.
Miami's in a spin, man.
Dolphins may not be very good either there.
No.
The 49ers are without Brock Purdy. They're without George Kittle. That line dropped. Now at the Saints, it's minus 3.5 to San Francisco. Do it.
New Orleans stinks, man. Give me 49ers. Who's their quarterback?
Mac Jones is the starting quarterback for the
there you
49ers
go.
now. So I don't
He's
know.
not too bad.
Is he? San Francisco minus 3.5. All right, we already know the next one. Seahawks, Steelers. Pittsburgh 3.5-point favorite against Seattle.
DJ will go off in this game. Steelers, you know that.
He says DK goes off there against his old team. In your division, the Browns and the Ravens are both 0-1. Baltimore, I don't know what. Derrick Henry fumbling changed the whole game. The game changed right there, or they win.
Yeah.
Easy.
It did, but it wasn't. It's a typical Hallmar's fourth quarter. Sit on it. We're all right.
Yeah, that was Baltimore. It's 11.5 points. That's a ton. 11.5.
Is that how bad the Browns are?
I guess.
Well,
Yeah, Cleveland's bad.
give me the Browns. I want.
Okay, got some underdog action. Cleveland plus 11.5 there.
I want the point.
All right, that's a lot of points there. Only a couple of late games this week. Broncos and the Colts. Denver is a 1.5-point road favorite after Indianapolis won by 25 on Sunday.
Yeah, give me Denver.
He's got Denver on the road against Indy. Panthers and the Cardinals. Arizona hung on to beat the Saints. Carolina doesn't look good either. Arizona's a 6.5-point home favorite.
Arizona.
He's got the Cardinals there. Then the Super Bowl rematch on Fox. Eagles, Chiefs in Kansas City. Kansas City looked listless to me last week in the game in Brazil.
Yeah.
Philly's a favorite, slight favorite at Arrowhead, 1.5-point favorite.
They're protecting him better, for sure.
Yeah,
but I'm going to go Chiefs.
Kansas City plus 1.5.
Just because I don't like the Eagles.
Sunday night, Kirk Cousins is back, but he ain't playing. Falcons at the Vikings on Sunday Night Football. Minnesota minus 3.5 after the Vikes won their opener.
That's a whole different second. Once you text me, the whole game changed, man. You got to do that again. Give me the Vikes.
Well, JJ's going to be a dad any minute here, so his fiance is expecting a baby boy, so we'll see.
Okay.
But Vikes minus 3.5 there. All right, we got 2 Monday night games. You're not making the second one. I'm going to tell you that right now. Doesn't start till 10 o'clock. The first one is the Bucks at the Texans. Houston is a 2.5-point favorite at home against Tampa.
Give me the Bucks.
Tampa Bay getting points there, plus 2.5. The late game in Vegas, why not? 10 o'clock start Eastern time. Holy cow. Chargers, Raiders. Chargers are minus 3.5 at Vegas.
Give me the Raiders.
Okay. Wow, you're taking some dogs this week, Pops. It's unlike you.
It's going to be a good week.
All right. So Kansas City plus points, Vegas, Tampa Bay. He took the Browns and the Patriots as underdogs this week.
Notice I picked against both Harbaughs.
I'm calling the game tomorrow just in case you want to listen. I know you got plans, but if you want to check it out, I always love the feedback.
The race isn't until tomorrow night.
All right. Well, there you go.
I'll be listening.
All right. You feel free to text any feedback. So Eric says that you got to give us a NASCAR winner this weekend. What do you got?
Man, I'd love to say Hamlin again, but I don't want to see him win it again. Bristol, I'm going to go with Larson at Bristol.
You always pick him.
I know.
All right. It's in Bristol, correct?
Yes.
The Cereal Bowl race this weekend there. All right, we got to roll. I love you. Have a great weekend. I'll talk to you tomorrow, okay?
I love you too. Good. Have a good call tomorrow.
Thanks, bud. There he goes, my pops. I can't believe he's going to divulge that whole story. I'm telling you right now, it was a long trip. New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio. This is great for Sam. Indiana, Illinois, Wisconsin, Minnesota, North Dakota. Pretty sure he was sick of me by Ohio, which is not that far into it. We'll take our final break. We come back. We'll wrap things up. We got our Eliminator picks to unveil for everybody in the challenge, and we'll get you ready for a dynamite sports weekend. Hot Mike will wrap on WDAY Extra right after this. All right, wrapping things up here. Fun week in the books. We'll be back with you on Monday to recap everything, including the Vikes game. Got a Sunday nighter with the Vikings. That'll be fun. So Overreaction Monday should be fantastic. Bison will head into a bye week, which seems so odd because last year the Bison played, I think, 9 straight weeks before they had their bye. But back to a quote-unquote normal bye week with next week. There's no football in Fargo, but there won't be a shortage of things for us to talk about coming up on the show next week. You know, before we go here, you know, it is today. It's it's a big day. I'm going to make sure I go up to Stace because one of the first interactions I had with Stace when I started here 19 years ago today, we were televising Northeastern was playing North Dakota State. Rocky Hager was coming back, and I was doing sidelines for the game. And I had been here all of, 3 days? Stace looked at me and goes, "Don't F it up, Izzo." It's my real first interaction with him. I'm still trying to live by that mantra here 19 years later. I appreciate that. Been an unbelievable ride. Looking forward to year 20 starts today. You know, Hopper doesn't have enough on his plate, Eric, but we got to get a cool intro for this, I think. We have intros for almost everything we do. We got to have a Eliminator intro. Can we ask for that? Is that too much to do? Can we do that maybe for next week? So we have some cool intro music for this?
We can try. It is a bye week next week.
Yeah, we can do. There we go. He's got nothing on his plate. All right, here we go with our Eliminator picks. Again, this is just with the Hot Mic staff of $100 Shields gift card up for grabs. Here are the picks. Brody is going with the Rams against the Titans. John's got the Ravens with their 20-point favorite against Cleveland. Sam's on the Niners. The Jackman is going with the Rams as well. Matt is on the Chargers. Kyle, who sweated out the Vikings, is picking Buffalo. He's picking the Bills over the Jets. What are you doing? Maddie's on the Ravens, and you are taking San Fran with your guy, Mac Jones. You feel good about this? Everybody's going to pick against the Saints this year.
If I would have known Mac Jones was playing, I might have. And now the Niners lost Joey Greenlaw on IR. So, but they got CMC.
Is McCaffrey healthy? Yeah. Right.
I hope so. I'm going to knock on some wood, but man, I'm a little nervous.
All right, so those are the picks. And then our condolences to our guy Justin, who is out. He picked the Patriots last week, so he's done. But those are the 8 participants still left, and we'll see who's still standing come Monday. All right, we got a bunch of what to watch. Let's do it now before we get out of here. All right, we got high school football tonight for you. Century and Cheyenne coming up tonight on WDAY Extra, 7 o'clock from West Fargo. And on WDAY2, the old rivals, North and South, set to match up for the first time in a couple of years. They didn't play last year. That's also tonight at 7 o'clock. Also on the docket tonight, Chris Kleiman's Kansas State Wildcats on the road to take on Arizona. That game's on Fox. Deion Sanders in Colorado playing tonight. They take on Houston, 6:30 on ESPN. And, oh, yeah, the Twins play tonight, 7 o'clock for their game on Twins TV as they open up a series with the Diamondbacks. Don't forget, tomorrow we hit the air at 10 a.m. for Bison Game Day. Live from the Dome, myself, Kolpak, Sam, and Kyle Emanuel will be there. We hit the air at 2:20 with the kickoff show. And then it's SEMO and NDSU at about 2:35 to get going. First ever matchup between the two schools comes up tomorrow. Looking forward to that. Then don't forget, Bison Postgame Live comes up right after the game on WDAY Plus and Inforum.com. Here's the list of games. Remember, there's 2 Monday nighters. As I mentioned, Vikes coming up on Sunday night. You got the Super Bowl rematch. That's why everything is cleared out for that late window. You've only got 2 other late games coming up on Sunday. Also, the biggie tomorrow in Missoula, UND Montana. That's on ESPN Plus tomorrow. Notre Dame and Texas A&M should be fun. That's on NBC tomorrow night. And again, Falcons, Vikings, Sunday Night Football with Mike Tirico, Chris Collinsworth, and Melissa Stark. Sunday night from US Bank Stadium. We got to go. Our thanks to Todd Locklear, to Cory Provus, Jay Elsen, of course, to my dad. If you missed any of the show, you can podcast it later today at Inforum.com. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see everybody at the Dome tomorrow. Have a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday.